Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight once again. My talk today focuses on a Seeking Alpha piece that was put out last week regarding the fact that Tesla's going out of business will be driven by the electricity costs associated with the free supercharging that's going on. Bonjour, wie geht's? Wie steht's noch immer ausfallen? Stasvice. Ni hao ma. Guten Tag, buongiorno. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. My talk, perhaps once a week or so, there's a new entity, be it Goldman Sachs or one of the other big banks, or some other entity that has a large following that puts out a new document to articulate why it is that Tesla is about to go out of business. The impact that this has is that it can temporarily push the stock price down, usually not up. And during periods when there are no major announcements going on by the company, it can be impactful in the short term. And so therefore, it's sometimes worth addressing. And especially in this case, because it's something that I thought was a legitimate problem and researched to figure out what was going on. So what the theory is that all of the current, or most of the current Model S's and Model X's are on the lifetime supercharger free plans. What this allows you to do is things like travel cross country with no cost of electricity. You can do all kinds of interesting travel with the vehicle, and it's a fast supercharger, and in essence the fuel cost is free. So this is a huge competitive advantage for Tesla compared to other entities that are trying to enter the field. And so it's a good deal for Tesla to do it, but is it a bad deal because it could put the company out of business? So as I was thinking through this, I actually did some reading and research to find out that it's possible in the early going that Tesla's was forced to pay for the electricity, but it's my understanding right now that it's approximately $140,000 to build a supercharger facility. Usually the mall or restaurant or truck stop is providing the real estate free of charge, and Tesla provides the equipment. But what's actually happening is the electricity is being paid for by the location that they're at, because what they're finding is that the well-heeled customers from Tesla are spending enough money during their 1 to 2 to 3 hour visit that their spending exceeds the amount that the electricity costs are for those entities. Now, it'll be interesting to see how this plays in the inner city locations as this comes up, but in these remote or mall locations, with Tesla not having to pay for that electricity, it turns out to actually be a pretty decent partnership that others are eager to see. Tesla isn't showing the numbers, and for obvious competitive reasons they don't, but I just think it's an interesting point. The other sort of caveat to the announcement that this is going to drive Tesla out of business is the fact that, as you'll note, at the beginning of the year in anticipation of the Model 3, Tesla was doubling the number of supercharger locations and also doubling the number of regular charging locations that would be authorized for the company. So if the company was really worried about going out of business based on supercharger use, the doubling of the footprint is a sign that they feel confident that they've worked out the numbers to make it work. A couple of other aspects I find interesting are that Tesla, in theory, could go to the power company and reference the use by Tesla vehicles and where they're charging up. as cause why they should actually purchase Tesla equipment to be able to purchase power to go there, because Tesla could produce power and put it on a smart grid to send over for use by its own vehicles, and collect the dollars through the back door from the malls and other entities that are actually paying for that electricity. So they do have a sort of interesting back-end way to solve the issue of, you know, what's going to happen with electricity usage. I was also fascinated because another thing that's going to occur is that the Model 3 owners will only get 3 to 400 miles worth of free supercharger use and will start paying. So I think this is huge, because if Model 3 owners, let's say 20 or 30% of the new users begin to use the superchargers and pay for that, this becomes a new source of revenue, and Tesla could even spin off that revenue stream to, via an offering where folks could actually make money investing in bonds related to the income that's being generated by the superchargers. One last one that comes to mind is a new revenue stream that Tesla has that's lurking, that even other manufacturers are starting to move to, is the fact that because Tesla is directing you to a supercharger or a charging location, there's the possibility that retailers at that location could send coupons or other incentives to you via your screen. So now when you arrive at that mall, they could induce you to come to their store or their restaurant, etc., with couponing or special offers related to your previous purchasing habits at their stores. So after seeing this potential, I was intrigued, because I know that BMW is one of the manufacturers that's now reevaluating how they might interface with their customers, because the advertising potential for those retailers at destinations is actually a potential huge new source of revenue for both the car companies and the destination entities as well. So as you can tell, I disagree that Tesla could be bankrupted by the cost of the free superchargers. On the surface, it sounds like something that might be a problem, but the superchargers have become a competitive advantage versus other manufacturers, number one, and number two, there are different ways in which there are income streams that spin off of those superchargers that turn them from being a cost center to becoming a profit center over time. That's hard for competing firms to come after them with. So I obviously am of the opinion that, yeah, they could go out of business and have to pay for a whole bunch of free electricity for everyone. But I do believe that it's actually a great opportunity for Tesla to show sort of the infrastructure and capability, not unlike Apple Computer, for having all these touch points with customers that give users more and more good reasons to not only choose Tesla, but to stick with Tesla over time because of how well thought out their activities are. So I look forward to keeping an eye out for news that impacts Tesla and commenting on it. I think that the Seeking Alpha story kind of makes sense, but after you dig through the data, things look a little bit different than simply assuming they'll go out of business just because of the cost of the supercharger that we just discussed. I want to thank you for taking time out once again for seeking us out at Tesla Fan Insight. Look forward to actually your comments on this issue. Please like and subscribe. Tschüss, macht's gut. Au revoir, à tout à l'heure, lahit rot, Hoda Hafez, and look forward to our next conversation.